Hi and welcome to another episode of Digital Retro. This is actually a new series of videos, talking videos I'm going to make here on the channel to, well, put some variety on it. I usually do the narrative videos, but I thought I should make some talking videos to make them more personal, to more into viewers. So I thought about the series. It will be called Up to 8. It will be a series of videos of maximum 8 minutes, so it's not going to be very short, but not too long, not to bore you too much. And I'm going to talk about the gear and the lenses, all the experience with photography I get. It's totally independent, so I will be talking about just the gear I can recommend to you, about the strong sides and the weak sides, so nothing here is sponsored or anything. This will be totally from me and from my perspective that I can recommend to you. So anyway, I hope these videos will be more interesting than the one I made some time ago. It's still on the channel. It's about the Fuji X100F. It sucks, but it has some good pictures from the X100F I made, so if you can check it out. You can just go directly to the to the photos, because the talking there was garbage. Hopefully the ones in this series will be better. Anyway, in this video I'm going to talk about the new camera I've befriended, which is the Nikon Zfc. Nikon was my first DSLR back in the days when I started photography, and it kind of began my photography passion. It was the D70S, D70S if I recall, and well, certainly it was a great camera back then, especially when I purchased my first primes, the 51.8. I think it was a great lens, great experience I had with this camera. I've owned a lot of different cameras since then. I tried Fuji, I tried the Olympus, I tried Sony, which I'm still using up to this day. I did use the Samsung NX camera, which was great in my opinion. It was one of the first compact mirrorless cameras, the NX 300. But as a retro freak, I'm usually looking for something that will not just be good, but will also inspire me somehow, because I really like to make the connection with the camera. They say it's not important to get the camera that you like. It's just a tool, but for me it's kind of like personal experience. You need to have a connection with your camera, and if the camera inspires you to take pictures, I think that's one of the good points of the camera. That's one of the, very important factors of the camera, that it inspires you to take it with you every day and take pictures. So when Nikon released the ZFC, I was kind of skeptical about it. I saw the teasers, the trailers, but it didn't interest me that much. I don't know why. Probably because I had the X100F back then. But right now, after 2 years, I finally got it. I sold my X100F. I wasn't that much satisfied with the close image quality. The X100V has fixed that problem, but now it's almost impossible to get the X100V, and if it's available, the prices are sky high. So I decided to go with the ZFC. So I've picked up the ZFC with the kit lens, which is the 28 2.8, the SE version, which is the retro version that fits the ZFC design really well. And I gotta say, it's pretty decent. Although the lens is plastic, it's very light, it's very well built. The focusing ring is made of rubber, and it actually feels good. It's not weather sealed, so it's not something that you may be confident with in some harsh environments, but still it's a good everyday lens. It's a good vacation lens. Actually, the Nikon has already released a new lens, which is the 24 1.7, and they claim it's weather sealed. So if you are thinking about the ZFC, I would recommend to get the 24 1.7, which I will also be probably getting, because it's the equivalent of 36 millimeter with the f1.7 aperture. It's probably going to be more versatile. So if you are thinking of getting the Nikon Zfc, now it's a good time, because you can buy the body and the 24 1.7 separately and make it a good combo. I can't say the dynamic range of the Zfc is great. It's actually way worse than the GR3X, but I just love this camera. It just feels great. It's well built. It's really nicely built. It looks great. It looks like an analog camera. So this is also one of the strong sides of this camera, because it makes you blend within the crowds very well, especially if you're on the street. And with this camera, I just look like some retro freak, like analog guy with a camera. So people are not intimidated by this camera. They're just looking at you like you're a tourist or some photography addict with an analog camera, so they are not paying too much attention. Actually, I was in Naples a few weeks ago, and I was able to take some pictures on the street, and it was really cool, because I was able to get very close to people, and they seemed to ignore me. They didn't seem to notice me that much, because this camera it's not just small, but it looks like a retro camera. So they were not that startled by the camera, and they just let me take pictures. And even if they noticed, they were just like they smiled, and some of them said like, wow, that's a cool camera. Is it a film camera? And actually, if you just take this camera and fold the screen, which I usually do, it looks like an analog camera. So you have to use the EVF, which is really cool, because I was mostly shooting the screen back days, but now with the ZFC I've made to appreciate the EVF and the perspective of the EVF. It makes you to respect the shutter more, because you look through the viewfinder and you still pay more attention, and you are more aware of the environment. So you're looking for the perfect composition for an interesting subject to come in. And the shutter speed, the shutter just sounds awesome. It's almost like an analog camera. It's not just looks, but it feels that way. It has the digital dials, and it has the exposure compensation dial, the ISO dial, and the shutter speed. And I don't use them that much, but it is possible to use it. Many people complain that you cannot use the dials when you're shooting the semi-auto modes, which is not exactly true, because even if you're using the A mode, which is the mode I'm most used to, you can still use the ISO dial. And even if you set the ISO to automatic, you can still use it to set the priority. So if you set it to 200, the camera will try to stick to 200 and just compensate it for higher or lower value if it's if it's necessary, but still it will use the set value on the dial. So personally, I think this camera will make you a better photographer, because of the connection you make with this camera. As a portrait photographer, I usually don't shoot the street photography that much, because I'm kind of a shy guy, and I'm I'm still learning to be more confident in the street photography, but this camera actually lets you approach the street photography way better than other cameras. And it's, well, it's of course because of its looks, of its retro looks, that lets you feel more confident and less intrusive on the streets. So if you're looking for the camera that will break that shyness barrier, I think the ZFC is one of the cameras that will let you do that. Oh, and one more thing you should think about it if you're getting this camera is that the grip is very, you know, there's actually no grip on this camera. So if you're thinking of buying this camera, you should also get the half case. I got this half leather case on Amazon for like 15 bucks, and it really helps for the grip. So you should definitely get one. I hope if you get this camera, or if you already have it, you can make the most of it, and it's, you know, probably one of the best cameras on the market right now you can get to when you're getting into photography, because it will not only just give you a great result in terms of image quality, but still it will also make you want to take pictures. This is a camera that you want to take with you every day and everywhere, because, you know, it looks cool, so you can just have a dinner with it. Okay, I hope you did enjoy this up-to-date video. I hope you will enjoy the next ones as well. Let me know in the comments if you are using the Nikon Zfc, what is your experience with this camera, and yeah, see you in the next videos. Keep on shooting.